Chair, who is on the grounds at the U.S. Open at Winged Foot. Dylan, how are we doing? It's noon. How are we feeling?
Feeling great. We've got a fantastic U.S. Open finale Sunday right in front of us. Sean, I got to tell you, I had to take refuge in the shelter next to the media center here because it's getting a little windy. Not a lot windy, but just a little bit windy out here today. So I think that's kind of what I'm looking for. Maybe other people too.
Tell me about the course and tell me how just a little bit of wind is going to affect just how these guys play today.
I mean, I think you'll see it in basically every facet. Standing on the tees, these fairways look narrow. And part of the reason they look narrow is because in your mind, you know, they're so firm that when the ball lands, it's going to keep rolling. And yeah, some of the guys, Matt Wolff, Bryson DeChambeau, have been able to make it work from, you know, the lighter rough that's near the fairways, but it's definitely no guarantee. And once the wind starts blowing, the ball starts rolling a little further offline. It's no good. And then, not to mention when you're coming into the greens, these greens are hard enough when you have a good, easy chip, but they're impossible when you get short-sided. So if guys are chasing after pins and the wind ends up affecting it, takes it just offline, all of a sudden you have a chip that you have no chance of getting within like 10 or 15 feet of the hole.
So one thing that everyone is having a hard time understanding is how Matt Wolff is doing what he's doing. He's 5 under par, 2 clear of the field, and he hit 2 fairways and somehow hit 12 greens on Saturday. So you've been out there in the rough. Is it as bad as people made it out to be at the beginning part of the week? Is he getting lucky?
I think it's selective, and I don't think it's necessarily lucky because there is this graduated rough where it sort of punishes you proportionally. If you miss by a little bit, you're going to be in shorter rough near the fairway. If you miss by a lot, you're going to be in some long, heavy stuff, or you're going to be behind a tree. It reminds me a little bit of this Kevin Na thing from back at Erin Hills, right, where he was dropping balls, showing how deep the rough was, but really in an area that was not even in play, most likely on the golf course. And I think that happened a little bit here. The rough is playable, but I don't know. I mean, listening to you guys back in the office talking yesterday about how the broadcasters were kind of lamenting, oh, Matt Wolff is basically breaking golf. But he's not just doing it with his driver. He's so good on, you know, strokes gained approach. I think he's in the top 5 this week, and he's normally, you know, pretty much tour average. Strokes gained putting, again, not normally that great a putter, but he's riding a hot putter. And then scrambling around the green, he's been one of the best in the field. So, yeah, bomb and gouge works, and it's important, but only if you're doing everything else well, and that's extremely difficult.
Yeah, that's something that gets lost in Bryson's game too. I think Wolff's getting lucky a little bit, but what's get lost in Bryson's game is that top 10 putter on tour throughout the entire calendar year. You know, traditionally a pretty good iron player, not a great wedge player, but one of the best drivers on the planet. So like add it all up, and if you chip pretty well, you should be contending. So let's talk about contention, right? Matt Wolff is at 5 under. If he shoots even par today, he will make 275 strokes in the tournament. What is the winning score going to be if you could fast forward 6 hours? And what's the final total?
I said 3 under, 277 going into the week. And I'm trying not to be a stubborn guy to stick with that pick, but I'm also going to be a stubborn guy and stick with that pick. That just feels like the number of guys you're going to have to get to is 2 or 3 under par. It's playing really hard, so I could even see it dropping a little closer to even, right around even. But again, then it's just really dependent on how Matt Wolff and Bryson play, the guys that have a little gap. But right. I like 3 under. I think someone's going to get there.
All right, so let's say Wolff. Does he shoot 2 over or better?
It's not going to be Wolff. I think that, like you said, Wolff has been playing unsustainably well, especially when it comes to his missing the number of fairways he has, catching pretty good lies. His irons have been really good. His wedge game has been uncharacteristically good. So I think we're going to see a 5 over round from Matt Wolff.
Okay. Wolff's out. Bryson, does he shoot even par or better?
I think I see Bryson, posting something right around that even or 1 over number. I think that Bryson could get it done. Here's the thing. Bryson is Matt Wolff. They are the same golfer. If you look at them on paper, they play the same style of game, but Bryson is just a little bit better in almost every way. You look at the 3 best performances of Matt Wolff's career. If he has a win, he has a second, he has a T4. Bryson, was in the top 5 at each one of those tournaments. So they play a very similar style. They have a similar type of golf course that they like. So I don't know. I think Bryson is going to be in the mix. He is my pick to win.
Okay, so who is going to push him then? Louis is 2 back of Bryson, Hideki 3 back, Xander 3 back, Harris English 3 back, Rory 4 back. Is someone from beyond that group going to push him, or is that the group?
I mean, I think that is the group, just because I don't see, as much as the weather looks like it should be a little bit nicer, the wind should drop a little bit. I think these greens are going to really firm up in a way that it's going to make shooting, 4 or 5 under pretty hard. So once you start getting to that group at 3 over, like Alex Noren, I don't think he's going to throw down a similar round to yesterday and keep climbing. So I think it really is that group. But what's awesome is that group is a bunch of studs. Like, it's guys that we all want to be in contention. Hideki, Louis, Rory, Xander. It's a bunch of guys vying for their first major. So there's a ton of drama. I just think it's a matter of, okay, who can actually manage their golf ball around these brutal par 3s and 4s, take advantage of that 9th hole, that 6th hole. And actually, we were talking about this right before we went on, but those first 5 holes, Sean, are all playing well over par. They're all playing basically a half stroke over par, except the 4th is a little bit easier.
Yep.
So if you get through the first 5 holes at even 1 over, you're picking up a shot and a half on the field.
Yeah. It's basically broken up into 3 sections today. First 5 holes, the next 7 holes, which you could grab maybe 3 birdies within, and then the last 6 holes you got to hold on for your life. Theoretically, you'll have pressure because the stakes, even though there are no fans that will be raising the stakes for you. But either way, it'll be a U.S. Open champion crowned later today. Dylan, I'm excited for you to see it. So that means you have to leave us right now and go watch the golf.
Do we get a pick out of you here? Do we get
Bryson's
Sean Zock's pick? Oh, all right. So we're aligned on that front. Thanks for having me. Can't wait.
We'll see you soon.